1986 and joined from St Helens, making his debut in 2015. He holds heritage number 1,117 for what it's worth, and has made 12 appearances, having been hampered by injury.
Yeah, I probably would have got rid of that heritage number if I'd have read what I copy and pasted.
That's all right. I'm just going for. I'll go Ron Burgundy and read what you put there, mate. Rochdale Hornets. Let's talk about biscuit.
I assume part of the deal is they're having to hire a full-time physical therapist to get him over any of those long-haul flights. Well, reasonably lengthy flights that he'll have to go on,
or any flights of stairs that you might have to climb,
or any rugby pitch he has to go on.
Jeez.
It's great to see someone giving him a deal, and at that level, if he is fit, he'll absolutely tear it up, you would think.
If he's fit.
But it's whether it's fit.
It's a big gamble. Laithwaite,
it's a ginger lad, I think. Good on him.
Yeah, good
nice to see him getting a gig where he might get some game time, because it's been very, very much few and far between for Warrington in the last two years or so, really. Ever since the emergence of people like Ben Curry, Sam Wilde, is not had much of a look in.
Yeah, he's down the pecking order there, isn't he? Okay, Rochdale Hornets Chief Executive Ram Bradley is leaving the club next month to join Premier League Burnley FC. Bradley is to take on a role as Business Development Executive for Burnley in the Community Trust. He has been with Rochdale since 2013, helping turn the Hornets' finances around and achieve promotion to the Championship. Good luck to him. Obviously a skilled sporting business administrator.
Yeah, and hopefully the Hornets can find a sensible replacement to keep the good work going.
I wonder if he fancies a job in rugby league at Bradford Bulls. Wales international, in asterisks, Rhys Pugsley has been suspended from all sport for 8 years after committing a second anti-doping rule violation. Pugsley from Newport in Wales tested positive for the presence of anabolic steroid nandrolone following an out-of-competition test on February the 8th, 2016. At the time of the test, the former Wigan Academy player was already serving a 2-year ban for steroid use, which was committed in April 2014. As a result of the player committing a second violation, a ban of 8 years has been imposed.
Absolute clown shoe.
What a Burke.
Couldn't be... I have zero sympathy for the guy. The first time around we're like, well, he's a young kid and he shouldn't have done it and he's done wrong and he's been punished. And let's hope that that's the end of it. This time around, no, he's a bit older now. He's been through that experience before. He was offered, from what I last heard about Rhys Pugsley, he'd kind of been offered a lifeline by one of the Cumbrian clubs. They'd sort of taken him on with a view to him becoming a player for them when his ban ended. And obviously, he couldn't last that long, could he?
No.
Without pumping himself up. What a fucking clown shoe.
What a tart. Okay, Super League's longest serving match official, Richard Silverwood, has called time on his refereeing career. Silverwood became Super League's youngest official when he took charge of his first game, which was between Salford and Halifax in 2001 at the age of just 24. The 40-year-old refereed more than 400 Super League games and the 2013 World Cup final during his 15-year career. He was suspended by the Rugby Football League in June pending an investigation and has not taken charge of a game since the Magic Weekend in May. It was his third suspension, having been stopped from officiating in 2009 and again in 2011. He was suspended in 2009 following an alleged leak of confidential information to a trade union, while his 2011 disciplinary procedure resulted from an off-field incident during a game between Huddersfield and Leeds. The RFL's chief operating officer, Ralph Rimmer, said, "We would like to thank Richard for his contribution as a referee at the sport's highest level over the past decade and a half." Silverwood added, "I've had an outstanding career as a referee. I have no regrets, but I'm now looking to the next chapter of my career." Going before he pushed, I would assume. But
well, that's all what it's part of. Yeah, I mean, it is a shame to lose an experienced, high-calibre official, but at the same time, it's a shame that he apparently doesn't keep his hands to himself enough.
There you are. But he's stepping away from the sport in a lot of ways, because he stepped down as coach at Murfield Stags as well, which is,
Yeah, I think he'd still want to keep an involvement in and around the sport.
You would hope so.
I mean, refereeing careers do have to come to an end, and 40-year-old actually is probably quite old. 3 years ago, he was the best referee we had for a spell.
Yeah.
He did the World Cup final, didn't he, that year? And he was really, good at that time, I would say. Our best referee. But, I mean, maybe he's got fed up of players touching him as well, because I don't know if that's. I don't know.
It's the circle of life for Richard Silverwood, isn't it? It's touch or be touched with him, isn't it?
I don't know if that was too much of the problem.
Yeah.
But he does leave a checkered record. But good luck to him, and let's hope he.
And some of the things he's
doesn't
achieved.
use his lack of public profile now for a free rein to go on a tour of bars and clubs.
Just wreaking havoc on walkabouts in the north of England. I suspect he won't do. And we're making light and making jokes about this, but he's not been convicted or charged with anything. And what he has achieved in refereeing is to be aspired to, isn't it?
If we were aware of any serious convictions or charges, I think we would take him much more seriously.
Exactly. And what he's achieved in refereeing is to be aspired to by anyone seeking to blow a whistle, I would suggest. 400 Super League games in a World Cup final is not to be sniffed at, and certainly doesn't happen by accident. So, credit to the guy, and good luck moving forward. And finally, Thataway Crusaders are celebrating a remarkable double today, Mark, after their reserve side won the Women's Challenge Shield, while their first team took home the Women's Challenge Cup. The games were played at Bradford Bulls' Providence Stadium on Sunday. So the final scores officially for the Challenge Shield were the Whitley Bay Barbarians 0, Thato Heath St Helens Reserves 44, and in the Challenge Cup final it was Lee Miners Raiders Ladies 6, Thato Heath St Helens 62. So dominant performances from both the first and second string.
Well done to the girls,
Congratulations, that's fantastic.
Two serious wins there.
Absolutely.
Well, let's hope they're the only pieces of silverware finding their way to St Helens this year.
You would say so. Right, that's news from around the world of rugby league then. Now, kids, I want you to strap yourselves in because we've got the regular season stat attack. Right, so the regular season's over. We're moving into the Super 8s and we're bringing you the regular season stat attack. Now, I've got to hold my hands up, and regular listeners to the show won't be surprised to learn that I haven't had much of a hand in this, Mark, so this is really your baby. So how do you want to do it? Should we just talk through it and listen, because there's some really interesting stats, facts and figures there, really, isn't there? I've
got a ton of numbers. I've tried most of all to put in numbers that you wouldn't necessarily see jumping off the page if you just went on the Super League stats page. Some of them will be the obvious ones because you got to give credit where it's due to those sorts of things. Try to look at stuff like that maybe people don't necessarily know. Going through all the gamut of good stats, bad stats, mostly looking at individual stats, and then we got a few stats questions in from Rich Langley.
Yes.
So we will cover off Langers' stuff at the end of all this. So if there's any bits that seem like I might have wanted to mention it but I've missed out, maybe they're going to catch up with us in Rich's stuff. And then off the back of this, if anyone has any other things like they think, I wonder if Mark can tell us that, then I can always have a look in the information I've got if you want to send in a question for next week.
You're like the Santa Claus of stats, aren't you?
Well, I've got a few.
Yeah, you've got a few?
Everyone could do what I do. It's not like I go to any great lengths. I just copy and paste stuff off the Super League website onto a spreadsheet and then press some buttons and make the spreadsheet fill in some stuff for me.
Don't lift the veil off it. There was so much more jiggery-pokery to it in my own mind.
Well, there is a bit of jiggery-pokery to it, but the computer does most of that once I've written in the formulas I want it to do.
Formulas.
Anyway,
take us through them. Let's get statty.
Start with a very basic stat. 353 players, according to my numbers, featured in matchday squads during the regular season.
Yeah.
31 of those players, so not close to 10%, played in all 23 games of the regular season. So 31, that's quite decent. We're going to start with tries because that's what it's all about.
It's all about tries.
And obviously everyone knows Denny Solomona had the most tries in the regular season with 28. That also meant he had the best strike rate in the regular season. He managed 1.4 tries for every game he played in, so he scored better than a try a game. Mm-hmm. There was actually two other players who had a strike rate of a try a game.
Right.
They were Mason Caton Brown and Michael McAlorum. Obviously they didn't play as many games.
Asterisk.
As Denny Solomona played in. And also 102 players failed to score a try. Chris Hill and Dane Tilse are the only two that played in all 23 rounds without scoring.
Right.
But over 100 players failed to score a try that appeared in the regular season.
It's a lot of nude runs, isn't it?
Well, luckily they've got the Super 8s phase of the season to deal with, and this is just the Super League. This isn't Challenge Cup or anything. So some of those players might have scored in the Cup.
I see. Okay.
The games with the most tries in, there was 2 that were tied in this: Castleford versus Hull KR in round 12, and Wakefield versus St Helens in round 22. Both those games had 14 tries. So if you were at either of those, you were entertained, I'm sure.
Yeah.
In terms of assists, and we're sticking at Castleford actually, Luke Gale with 32 had the most try assists, and he had the best assist rate as well, 1.5 assists for every game he's played in. Standout Dawn, Walsh, Williams, Gareth O'Brien, Morgan Smith and Rangi Chase. Don't know why I full named the other ones. Smith obviously, because no one would know it's Morgan Smith if I said Smith. Morgan Smith's the youngster at Warrington, isn't it? Also had an assist per game ratio or better, but there was 147 players who failed to make an assist at all. 7 players played in all 23 rounds without making an assist. Dane Tilse was amongst them.
Makes you wonder what he's bringing to the table, really.
Well, he's the only player who managed to play all 23 games and not give a try or an assist.
To be fair, if you play at OKR and you're an Australian and you're not out injured and you play all 23 games, you're basically player of the season, aren't you? At that point.
When we look at tries and assists combined, Luke Gale with 36 had the most try involvements overall, but Chris Sandow and Luke Dawn, they had the best strike rate of try involvements, because they scored or created 2 tries for every game they played, so they were involved in 2 tries in every game they played. 38 other players had a try or assist per game ratio, so obviously when you put the 2 together there's much more players who were contributing more heavily to that. 80 players though did fail to make either a try or assist, like I've said, Dane Tilse being the most regular appearer of those.
Right.
Not to get at Dane Tilse, because he's had a decent year, I think, compared to what he could have had. Clean breaks, so that's the next thing that really leads to tries, and Denny Solomon, unsurprisingly, had the most breaks. A really impressive figure of 37, actually. That's nearly 10 more than the amount of tries he scored. He had the best break rate as well, with 1.9 breaks per game he played, and 1 in every 6.1 carries of the ball he made. 16 other players had a break per game ratio. 90 players, though, failed to make a clean break. 2 of them played in all 23 games without making a clean break. One of them was Logan Tompkins, who I believe's birthday is today, so happy birthday to him. Sorry for bringing this up on your birthday, Logan. And the other one, shockingly, was Dane Tilse of Hull Rovers.
You can tell they're not employing like Moneyball style tactics at OKR for recruitment, can't you?
Well, it depends what they're looking for out of him, I suppose. He has made decent meters this year.
Okay. Just no tries, assists or clean breaks?
No. So the game with the most breaks was Wakefield versus Hull KR. That was in round 17. That had 19 clean breaks in the game.
So all this is going on around Dane Tilse. What do you think he's thinking?
Because he's
like the luckiest spectator in rugby league, isn't it? He gets paid to turn up, he gets the best seat in the house, he gets to follow all the action, he does fuck all. He's the luckiest man alive for me. He's 6'7", he's probably look like a brontosaurus. What a week of Dane Tilse's life.
Tackle bus come next, and Dane Tilse is off the hook from now on out.
Right, okay.
Josh Jones with 107, he had the most tackle busts in the regular season over at Salford there, but Don Manfredi had the best bust rate, 5.6 busts per game.
Did you just laugh at bust?
And a bust every 2.2 carry.
Oh dear.
5.6 tackle busts per game, which is a good number, and a bust every 2.2 carries of the ball he makes. If you watch him play, it's not surprising. He seems to bounce off tackles and get quick play the balls or penalties regularly, and it's nice to throw some credit his way after the poor chat we're going to talk about later.
More of that later, because he's normally so good under the high ball.
Matty Russell, John Bateman and David Fafita were also involved in having 5 or more tackle busts a game. There you go, yeah. 34 players didn't make a single bust. Joe Breverton played the most games without one. He played 8 times and didn't make a tackle bust. The game with the most tackle busts, which also means it's the game with the most missed tackles, because the two go hand in hand, was Leeds versus St Helens in round 6. That had 82 tackle busts / missed tackles. I know.
Wow.
That was a ropey Leeds side against the Saints side at the time that couldn't defend for that period, I suppose, for a while. Offloads next, so the attacking stats continue. Ashton Sims with 49. He had the most successful offloads this year, so Adam Cuthbertson can stand down from that crown. Anthony Gelling had